Severed Heads is meant for a mature audience only. This program contains violent, sexual, and disturbing scenarios. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of our national anthem.
Welcome to Severed Heads, written and created by William Goodman. This story is called Evergreen. Chapter 1 is titled Sepia.
Fuck Mary. Matter of fact, fuck all these motherfuckers and their carpe diem, the devil's in the details. With a bird's eye yelling, fuck your freedom and fuck your feelings. You want to survive, you gotta say,
Yes, my savior.
it's called a plea deal. But you're still in shackles, especially with that cross you wear screams, I'm on antidepressants. Because you be killing it at church every week. You stand, you sit, you pray, you laugh. It's a mask, because the fact is, you be spewing so much hate in your speech. You preach forgiveness and new beginnings. But do you really when you believe Christianity is the true religion? Nah. Now pop some pills and play the victim. And when you attend your support group, stand up and say,
God's omnipotent.
preach. But you be doing it online every day. Between Facebook and Twitter, your keyboard is permanently prejudiced against gays because the GAY keys are permanently stained. Oh, maybe you don't like when I stereotype. Maybe you care about the gays in your life. Maybe you aren't an egregious pill popper, and maybe you're open to other opinions. Ha, definitely not. So just stop it. The truth hurts when your views are myopic.
Ugh, I hate triggered libs, those ignorant, hate-spreading racists denying it's those illegals that hold supremacy. We're just peaceful human beings, kneeling at heaven's gate. Surely, for fuck's sake, we followed his rules. We repented our sins, begged for forgiveness, read the book, and studied his work. Meaning, I'm a motherfucking shoo-in, and my past is just that. The past, not relevant. So let's end the discussion.
Except, let's not, because you're one of those born-agains, aren't you? A get-out-of-jail-free card for the sinner in all of us. Now Mary, a mother of 3, a Bible Belt thumper, widow of a war casualty. She spends her days rotting in her retirement home, chemo in the afternoon, then blasting liberals on Facebook at night all alone. MAGA, Holy Bible, Nike protests, holy water, FOX, rabbit hole, catch its prey, then post some more. And when you hear a rebuttal, you bring up Christ, you say.
All non-believers should be sacrificed or gutted with a knife and left for dead like all the Mexicans trying to steal my land.
But you were born again, aren't you? Congratulations, they say in your first life. You were much worse, but I don't see the difference. You're sepia, bitch. You seep through your sheep's clothing and expose the contrast in your consciousness is fake, like an old edited photo. Fuck Mary. Matter of fact, fuck all these motherfuckers and their sad betrayal. The devil's on both shoulders yelling, fuck their freedom and fuck their feelings. You want to survive, you gotta say,
Fuck my savior.
it's called a plea deal, but you're still in shackles. Ugh. Especially with that guilt you wear screams, I'm on antidepressants. But you be killing it in group every week. You stand, you sit, you cry, you laugh. It's a mask. Because the fact is, you got so much ice in your veins. You preach forgiveness and new beginnings, but do you really when you believe drugs are not addicting? Nah. Now pop some pills and play the victim. And when you attend your support group, stand up and say,
It's a broken system.
ha, but you be sucking dick for some, right? Between crystal and blow, your lips are permanently stuck in the shape of an O. And I betcha STDs are engraved in your DNA. Well, maybe you don't like when I stereotype. Well, fuck you. Maybe your sister Amy would still have a life. Things fall apart when you smoke from a pipe. And Amy was angry and needed guidance from her older sister that night. And you know what you did. You told her,
Feeling numb is the epitome of peace.
and I guess it's true, an addict and an adolescent both fall from the same tree, both rotten fruit. She turned into the mirror image of you. And when she turned 17, you surprised her with your favorite cocktail of choice, a speedball for the supreme rush. And when she asked you what it felt like, you said,
It's salvation for the broken heart.
and from there on out, you were blood sisters with a sudden clot.
Good luck.
You passed her the needle and zoned out. There were colors and shapes, like it was a space odyssey. But suddenly you felt at peace with your finality. There will be bloodshed that you'll face in the afterlife. Say grace, but embrace for adversity. In reality, you pace and search for sanctuary to bury your hopes and dreams. Death is considered a luxury for those broken hearts that can't cope with the hellscape scene you created in your mental space. So cry out loud and scream. They took Amy away in a body bag, and although her funeral was beautiful, it was filled with poorly worded euphemisms, synonyms about stolen innocence, distant consciousness, and overdose. Ha! There you are, Mary Mayhem, with omens you can't erase. Find Christ and try again, but you're sepia, bitch. You seep through your sheep's clothing and expose the contrast in your consciousness is fake, like an old edited photo.
Thank you for listening to Severed Heads. Chapter 2 is titled Eve. Welcome to Severed Heads, written and created by William Goodman. This story is called Evergreen. Chapter 2 is titled Eve. I remember her eyes like it was yesterday. I remember her eyes like it was yesterday. I remember her eyes
Fuck
like
you.
it was yesterday.
You lie
I
and
remember
judge
her
and turn the
eyes
kids
like it was
against me.
yesterday.
Seriously, what the fuck are you talking about, you overdramatic bitch?
Please.
Seriously,
Keep
what
your
the
voice
fuck are
down.
you talking
You're going
about,
to
you
wake the
overdramatic
kids.
bitch?
Pop a fucking pill and go to sleep.
Keep your voice
You
down.
think I
You're
give a
going to wake the
goddamn about
kids.
the kids?
Pop a fucking pill
I
and
remember
go
the
to
morning
sleep.
of I remember the morning of like it was yesterday. I remember screaming matches at 1 in the morning. Like clockwork, I would wake up to a slew of fuck yous and you worthless, abusive asshole. My brother Trevor and I would anticipate every seething sentence, separated by love and hate and our parents' death by 1,000 lashes. Lacerations, metaphorically of course. My parents' marriage were held together by lattices, curated with paper, twine, and a religious outlook. Divorce was out of the question. The Bible condemns those that split, and my dad was strictly conservative. My mother, on the other hand, didn't give a shit. She would attend church once a week, but didn't dabble in politics. She had a larger-than-life personality. Though addicted to Percocet, she was clearly depressed and fed up with her relationship. She would swallow her pills, then swallow her pride, turn a blind eye as my dad would read scripture, Ephesians 5:33, with a blind sense of pride. See, my father was different. He valued family and values and believed Jesus was all-empowering. So when he realized their relationship was crumbling, he felt ashamed and blamed my mother for her lack of faith. To him, she was a total disgrace. Between two fading lovers, it felt like death, hiding under bated breath.
What would God think? What would my mother say?
He would shout from his agenda-stricken pedestal, looking down at the peasants, pretending sympathy is a part of his predetermined prejudice. You can hear the hypocrisy. Voices break, crackle like the static as the evening fades. Screaming matches simmer as the morning sings, as you two choose to forget the shooting spree. For on this perfect morning, it's Christmas Eve. I remember the tree like it was yesterday. I remember the attic. It was one of those with drop-down stairs, holiday decorations, spider webs, old rusty nails. You know, underutilized and hardly noticed, except when you need an inflatable Santa or an ornament or two. My mother loved Christmas and decorating her evergreen tree. The day after Thanksgiving, she would organize her ornaments and prepare for assembly.
The tree must be up and glistening no later than December 1st.
She would always say. It was a pastime tradition she used to do with her mother and still carries on to this day. She was recently recovering from an ankle sprain, so I volunteered to fetch her large storage container full of ornaments in the attic. I slowly walked up the rickety staircase and noticed it was pitch black up there. I was stumbling and fumbling, looking for a light switch. I wasn't exactly sure where. Eventually, I spotted a box that said ornament, so I assumed I was in the clear. I peeked inside, and sure enough, there was a beautiful glass angel with an aura that screamed cursed as spirits poisoned the air. I grabbed it, turned around, and splat! Broken glass fell everywhere. My mom shouted,
"Is everything all right up there?"
I panicked and yelled, "The brown box?"
"No, the large red storage container right when you walk in."
"Eureka!" I yelled as I made my way down the staircase.
"I thought I heard broken glass."
I quickly changed the subject and said, "I can't wait for this evening when we decorate the tree." And when the time came, there were games and laughter, and it was truly spectacular to see.
Fans, it's time now to meet the starters for this evening's game.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember that Christmas Eve. I remember the blood-soaked wood and the ambulance sirens. I remember the noon kickoff, Bears versus the Lions. I remember watching with my dad glued to the TV. He was drinking MGD. My mom was cleaning the house, making dinner and preparing for company. My Grandma Mary, Uncle Marvin, Auntie Debbie, and a few others from his side of the family. Honey bourbon glazed ham, mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese. Bears leading at halftime 7-17. My mom walks into the living room, completely strung out of her mind, talking about how she can't find the ornament Grandma. Mary got her, and she'll notice it's gone in due time. See, she hates her in-laws more than the Bears hate the Packers, and you can see the desperation in her eyes. She shouts,
"Please, I got the ham in the oven. Can one of you two guys grab the ornament from the attic? She'll be arriving here shortly."
My dad half-drunkenly slurs,
Jeremy, you do it.
but I ignored him, of course. 5 minutes later, my mom storms back in.
"Well, where the fuck is it? Fuck it, forget it. I'll do every fucking chore."
Thankfully, I didn't miss it because the Bears just scored. It's turning into a bloodbath of sorts. My dad again slurs.
It's a commercial. Now check on your mother. You know she hates it up there.
I walked towards the old rickety staircase and shouted, "Mom, is everything all right up there?" No response, so I shouted a little more nervously, "Did you find Grandma's ornament?" Again, no response, and now I'm petrified. I began to walk up the stairs, each step more frightening than the last. I reached the end, and I'll never forget the screech that came pouring out of my mouth. I remember it like it was yesterday. My mom was laying next to the brown box and a few broken ornament pieces, face down, in obvious pain. I turned her over. Blood started spraying everywhere. I put my hands on her neck to try and clog the gashes, but I was a few minutes too late, and her gasping turned silent. There were pools of blood, and my hands were covered, but most memorably, I remember her eyes like it was yesterday. I remember her eyes like it was yesterday. I remember her eyes like it was yesterday. Thank you for listening to Severed Heads. Chapter 3 is titled Zombie. Welcome to Severed Heads, written and created by William Goodman. This story is called Evergreen. Chapter 3 is titled Zombie. It's midnight and I'm wide awake, a wide-eyed zombie and my belly aches. They say it's a piece of cake to control the shakes, but I'm a weak-minded individual when food's at stake. I grab my phone and mindlessly scroll for hours and hours until my eyes bleed. Oh, David got a new cat. How fucking cool. That'll stop the cravings from taking over my personality. Nah, just keep distracted and fall back asleep. In the morning I can have a fucking apple and a few protein pancakes. I can hardly wait, like seriously, I can't physically wait. Focus, you fat stupid virgin, you worthless piece of shit. You're trapped in the kitchen and the verdict's perfect. Triple bypass surgery. But it's comforting, and I can eat in peace. My dad's a judgmental hypocrite, and he insists I begin a diet regimen. Remedy, calories, and heart disease. He preaches what he's not, but wants to live vicariously. Food takes me back to my happy place. Happy meals and shamrock shakes. All the good old days of gaining weight. Before the fat shaming and the internet, I was a happy adolescent headed towards a downward state of mind, because high school is a miserable time. Pushing 3 bills as a freshman with a nickname Cracker Crust apple pie. I wanted to die, so I ate more, and I felt great, and the cycle recycled, and I realized I'll never be the apple in my dad's eye. Just rotten to the core and lost to the landfill of the world. I opened the freezer door and grabbed a pint-sized container of Ben & Jerry's Chubby Hubby, and my midnight ritual of indulgence can occur. It's all softened ice cream, chocolate chips and caramel sauce, microwave till it liquefies, and I can shoot it up, chased with a sleeve of Oreos and a fun-sized bag of M&Ms. Then I hide the evidence of my demise and go back to bed. They say we're a product of our environment, a product of our peers, a product to prosper and for most to disappear. In the distance, all you hear are crocodile tears, something about trees falling in the forest, but who the fuck cares? Because in this day and age, it's all evergreen tweets. Good men getting canceled over every little mistake. And in the wake of last night, all I feel is shame. I talk about environment and form over function, but I'm failing out of 9th grade. And you know, I never got that apple and stack of protein pancakes. Instead, I awoke 20 minutes late in a mad panic and missed the school bus. Now it's either walk 3 miles and be an hour late, or ask Dad for a ride and hear his lectures and cliches. I grabbed a brown sugar Pop-Tart and hopped in the back seat. For the next 10 minutes, I'm all ears and out the other because history repeats. It's all...
Jeremy, next time you're late, you can burn some calories and walk to school, because this will be the last time I participate in your charade.
Not what I expected, but I just shook my head and agreed.
Because when you're late, then I'm late. And when I'm late, I won't be able to afford food for you to stuff your fat fucking face.
I chuckled and said, that'll be a great way for me to lose some weight. He didn't seem amused, so I just put my head down and pretended I understood geometry. You know, shapes, triangles, squares, angles. I don't know, I'm hoping I get graded on a curve. But if you're keeping track at home, I'm a fat, moronic loser, so it's no surprise I have the self-esteem of a 12-year-old bulimic female going through her first breakup. But I envy that, you know, to at least have been in a relationship. Girls only look at me in disgust, laugh and tell me I'm a future incel.
Son.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me, I mumbled.
Son, I know I can be harsh, but I truly love you.
I rolled my eyes so far into the back of my head and said, I know, Dad, and he turned the music up, but in reality, I don't believe him. You love the idea of having a son, but you have two, and disregard the other. Fuck life's misconceptions. Everybody's fucked with no protection. Abortion babies are lucky to avoid the hectic. Life's a free-for-all. We deserve redemption. The Bible, fetuses, and credence. It seems pretty clear when you argue with reason. My older brother is a mischievous demon, bisexual and sinful in secret. That's right, though. Motherfucking homo came out last night. That's right, fucking faggot broke our dad's heart last night. That's right. And now I'm the good son, the purity and innocence of the one with the good blood. He's shunned, kicked out of the house, he's done. When you go up against God, he strikes down. He's won. He's won. I've never seen my dad cry before. He's confident and stoic, yet last night I heard him crying like a poet, and when we reached school, I looked at him and said, I get it. I agree. Trevor's a monster, a martyr, a monstrosity. You did the right thing, and I'll pray every day for him to become better. But until then, just know I'll love you till the bitter end. Thank you for listening to Severed Heads. Chapter 4 is titled Dandelion. Welcome to Severed Heads, written and created by William Goodman. This story is called Evergreen. Chapter 4 is titled Dandelion.
But it's not you. It's not
Some say I'm a hopeless romantic. Others say I'm a manic depressant. Mothers say I'm the wrong fish in the water. I say I'm a man of deception, and the side of my reflection decides which side you see at any given second, because like a run-on sentence, my thoughts split in every direction, with no exception. Shit can get hectic, so I've learned to accept it. Heads up, there's this beautiful woman sitting directly across from me. I just want to introduce myself, be like, hi, I'm Mr. Wonderful with many different personalities. Do you want to be the centerpiece of a gangbang? I'm just one man, but girl, it's going to feel like the same thing. Amazing. Then we can play the name game as you're screaming, Jesus, save me. Well, perhaps I should be a little more subtle. Something like, sup girl, if we fuck girl, we can cuddle afterwards forever. In the terra firma, I'll be the single dandelion in the bed of roses, with a restraining order, but I'm a quivering coward that can accept it. I hide behind my keyboard and post shit. Sup, Stacy? I'm not sure if you remember me. We went to high school together. My name is Jeremy. 2:27 p.m.
Hey, how'd you get my number? 2:42 p.m.
You want to maybe grab a coffee or a drink? I know a great place. 2:43 p.m.
I have a boyfriend. Bye. 2:45 p.m.
Damn, girl. Don't play hard to get like that. You need a nice guy like me to treat you right. I'll pick you up. We'll get some drinks and see where the night takes us. 2:46 p.m.
Haha, that's funny. Sure thing. 2:48 p.m.
I'll pick you up. Where are you living these days? 2:49 p.m. Hello. 2:53 p.m. Where are you at, bitch? 2:55 p.m. Fuck you anyways, stupid cunt. 2:56 p.m. Hello. 3:05 p.m. Your loss, you dumb fucking whore. 3:06 p.m. You dumb fucking whore. It's always a woman's fault, and this circumstance is no different. You put yourself out there and women show no interest. You look at their Pinterest, and it's all wedding ideas like every woman's a princess, symptoms of society telling women they don't belong in the kitchen. Personally, I belong in the 50s. Women knew their place and minded their own business. I blame education. Give a woman a brain and suddenly men become victims. We're masochistic. We should massacre every damsel in distress until the masses maraud and mark victory upon our alpha mindsets. Speaking of alpha, it's a competition out here. Every male is your enemy, and for centuries it's been either the wealthy, gorgeous, or celebrities, with tendencies to garner attention from the top 1% of the women you'll find in beauty magazines. So what does all that mean? We must even out the playing field and eliminate the middleman in society.
So you fall in love too easily. It's not my fault you started to cry.
People magazine for a woman's sanity. Worship the gods as you flip through the pages. Look what Jay-Z and Beyonce are saying. Grab a notebook and a pen because their thoughts are sacred. Aren't they all amazing? Every thought, every tweet is scripture in this new age. Then we write a thesis and repeat it. Baseless rhetoric with no evidence. If I'm lost, I'm sure you'll tell me which road leads to safety. The yellow brick road is paved with golden spray paint. It seems a scheme is all you need. Get online, sing a song, take a pic, or make a vine, and maybe you'll wake up discovered as an internet sensation. Doesn't that sound delightful? Hear the sirens scream for miles. It's a sign. Language silenced. Headache trembles. Need a medic. Those who are skeptical just don't get it. Reach for stars and come up empty. Thinking we're entitled for greater things. The pastures brown and begging for some rain won't turn a goddamn thing green. The pastures brown and begging for some rain won't turn a goddamn thing green.
Just not relationship material. I didn't mean to break your heart. You see, I really need my freedom. I wanna drink and smoke and fuck. But don't worry, there's someone better for you out there. Just until now, you had very bad luck.
Thank you for listening to Severed Heads. Chapter 5 is titled 8chan. Welcome to Severed Heads, written and created by William Goodman. This story is called Evergreen. Chapter 5 is titled 8chan. Don't censor me, Sensei. I'm sensitive, some say. Someday I'll be a somebody. I just need the silence from cynics to silence the critics or cry in the silos and beg for forgiveness. I get shivers down my spine when I accept the truth that hides between the lines us sinners ride to. Shed the lies that were meant to justify the world that's mine. It's irresponsible when God is good and meant to solidify our silhouettes and signify our innocence. I acknowledge that as I ramble and yet remain ignorant. Samsara, I'm born again and die again every time those thoughts arrive. I'm horrified when my computer screen flashes contradictions of my beliefs online. Because the left-wing bloggers of the world are meant for awful people, we read headlines and participate like we're experts with a blue checkmark with no integrity. 12-year-old me would have caused mayhem like I did on Wiki way back in the day. And you know what they say? You can edit the past and make up the truth if you say it with enough conviction and it seems plausible. Because between CNN and the rest of the fake news, it's all alternative facts, and I knew I needed better than that because our First and Second Amendment rights rights were under attack. I've learned a lot. Like our democracy is bullshit. I'm torn with torment, the media, and the donkeys colliding to make a Ono centaur. How paraplegic, how hideous a baby. How come the truth hides in the dark web of my internet's webpage? You gotta do your own research, like the chemtrails, election fraud, QAnon. It's all real. The media can tell you otherwise, but look at the evidence. It's clear as fucking day who should have continued to be the United States president. Make America great again? Make Americans sane again. We have blacks slaughtering whites dead in the streets, yet hypocrites won't call it racism. What do you call it when protesters loot your neighborhood? I call it a hate crime and police should shoot accordingly. But according to liberals, I'm a fucking monster. Why? Because I've done my homework, passed the exams, and can see behind the mainstream media's poor attempt to alter the facts. It started with a question. How did the Democrats rig an entire election? Our most beloved president received over 10 million more votes than in 2016, yet still lost in a landslide? Down with mankind, man. I can't fathom how people believe such obvious lies. So I turned to forums, Reddit, and Twitter and realized there's more to the story than meets the eye. Welcome to 8chan, found on the dark web, a perfect culmination of camaraderie, proud boys and members from the Ku Klux Klan. Maybe it was the anonymity, maybe it was the content, maybe it was a form of acceptance. Either way, I loved it. I craved the attention, like an addict admitting he's a junkie. I needed it for my self-esteem to believe I'm full of substance. I mattered. When you looked past those saddened eyes, I marveled. Well past those camel lights, I sparkled. In the dead of night, I thrived. Finally, in my tragic life, it started with the wizards with basic topics like women can't be incels, to all women are cunts, to more intense topics like my 100-page kamikaze manifesto, to my plot to kill every Chad and take over the entire universe. I participated and planted my seeds. I commented and truly believed. Then I would adventure over to the political forums and see topics like the Jews will not replace us, to my inevitable shooting spree, to election fraud, insurrection talk, and a great awakening. I would take my rhetoric to Twitter and pray for a retweet. I wanted to be noticed, like I was heroic, a stoic poet with the confidence to poke holes and destroy my opponent. Thank you for listening to Severed Heads. Chapter 6 is titled Characters. Welcome to Severed Heads, written and created by William Goodman. This story is called Evergreen. Chapter 6 is titled Characters. I remember the day started with a tweet at POTUS. Looking back, I remember driving past my polling station and seeing 2 white vans. I know for a fact they were dumping ballots. Pretty typical, I would tweet him multiple times a day.
From POTUS. More proof! Stop the steal! More proof! Stop the steal!
Something I never thought would happen in a million years. The greatest president of the free world noticed and responded to me. An otherwise insignificant nobody that has never done or accomplished anything even remotely relevant caught the eye of the most influential leader this great country has ever and will ever see. I was in shock. I was in glory. I felt validated.
Shut the fuck up! We both know you didn't see shit. Why spread these lies? Stop looking for attention.
What about all those recent reports of voter fraud all across the country? You don't believe any of them? That's so naive.
What about your whataboutisms? I don't believe those reports, but I'm asking you, specifically, what proof do you have?
Literally those white vans I mentioned earlier. Learn to read. I saw them dumping ballots.
Okay, I can see where this conversation is going. I'm going to sign off. I wish you a miserable life, you racist douchebag.
Donny Boy just doesn't want to admit our perfect democracy is corrupt. Must be nice living in a fairy tale.
Haha, I asked for proof, Jeremy gave me nothing. There's been no evidence of ballot dumping.
POTUS won 2,000 more counties and somehow lost by 7 million votes. Explain how there wasn't voter fraud.
Because Democrats control larger and more dense cities. That's not new. Water and land can't vote, you know?
There's been photos and videos circulating for days showing dumping across the states. It's not just me.
I don't know about ballot dumping, but Dominion voting machines were definitely sketchy.
That's bullshit and you know it.
Please explain to me how Biden received so many more votes in states that use Dominion. I'll wait.
Not only that, video footage in Georgia shows mules stuffing fake ballots. It's on video.
It's like a conspiracy theorist circle jerk in the comments. Video footage my ass.
Michigan was already caught with millions of unexpected votes overnight.
That was a counting error that was quickly corrected. You're stretching here. Come on, folks. Use your heads.
Well, this was fun to follow. Thanks for the laughs, guys. Riveting.
I felt valid. I thrived for blue. It meant authority. Enter a conversation and your rebuttal was your checkmark designed to win an argument. Ad hominems, slippery slopes, and straw men were all fallacies I'd use to confuse my audience. Pin yourself in a corner and make fun of a person's appearance, tell them to learn to read and circle back, but this time with a completely different proponent. The point wasn't to outsmart your opponent. You had to stay afloat long enough to where bystanders chimed in like obedient toy soldiers. Then you slowly fade and witness the mayhem from a completely different perspective. Hop on your burner, and the story unfolds like a true American classic. How tragic. You can post something so utterly random and like cancer. It spreads like a wildfire without a singular purpose. So candid, mission accomplished. A fascinating phantom, a cosplayer of an intellectualized madman, down wiki rabbit holes, internet forums, and famous diatribes that you texturize with your X'd out eyes. Do I lie to myself to be happy? Leonard did. Who am I? But an innocent man. My follower count went up 1,000%, and I felt like an influencer with a responsibility at hand. Like a beacon of hope and a spotless mind, I would spread disinformation for the good of mankind. The more they questioned, the more they would think critically. And eventually, I hoped they would have questioned their white picket fence reality. Call it QAnon, call it white supremacy, call it a conspiracy, but don't question its integrity. For me, it started with intrigue, Fox News, and for my father's acceptance. It was Hannity, Rivera, Tucker, and O'Reilly. I watched them non-stop on the telly for hours. Unlike school, they practically raised me. They taught me who I should trust and who are my enemies. Genocide upon liberals and to study the Bible. Religiously, I prayed for fame. A no-name fat kid from the burbs, for shame. I know I needed to play the game and put myself out there for the world to blame. I could be your dark knight like Christian Bale. I could be your antagonist in your fairy tale. I could tweet bait and make you spit take and talk about me around the dinner table. Thank you for listening to Severed Heads. Chapter 7 is titled Agonal.
I came before his throne. He touched my lips and made me whole. Exchanged my heart of stone for one of flesh and put life in my bones.
Welcome to Severed Heads, written and created by William Goodman. This story is called Evergreen. Chapter 7 is titled Agonal.
He opened up my eyes and gave me spiritual sight.
Fuck Mary. Matter of fact, fuck all these motherfuckers. And there's stage 4 cancer. The devil's whispering slowly, fuck your pancreas. And fuck your liver. You want to survive? Well, you can't, my demon. There's no plea deal and you're stuck in shackles, especially with your neuropathy. You can't feel sadness, but you be killing it in chemo every other week. You stand, you sit, you pray, You laugh, it's a mask. Because the fact is, there's no cure for the final stage. You preach forgiveness and new beginnings, but now you question if your sins will reach perdition. Ha, now take your chemo pack home and play the victim. And when you're alone, sulking in your bathtub, you can say, it's God's perfect vision. Nah, but you be lying to yourself every day. Between Amy and your grandson, you realize your legacy will be permanently stained because the RACE card you played didn't win you a single game. And I'm sure you understand hindsight and it being 20/20, but the screen darkens and the agonal breathing distorts your eyesight. And I'm not even going to stereotype, death is depressing no matter how messy a life. Family loves you and will cry for you every night. They'll bargain and plead until they shut off the lights. Ha, just kidding. Fuck you, Grandma. I bet you didn't think I'd visit tonight. Grandma, you're staring at me blankly. It's your grandson, Trevor, and I'm just here to say my goodbyes. You don't remember me, do you? Well, I'll do my best to keep you apprised. Your son, my father, apparently didn't have any LGBTQ pride. I wonder where he got that from. His born-again mother. Can't be, since you're so transcendent and kind. Obviously, he had a choice. I'm not blaming you directly, but it's easier when it's subliminal and embedded in your mind. I mean, look at Jeremy. He's the craziest of them all. He just wanted our father to love him, and now he's a full-blown QAnon. I bet you never asked about me. I bet you never loved me. That's fine, that's your discretion. But it just goes to show you how full of shit your religion-like cult is to disregard our family bond. Well, I'll just come out and say it. I'm a full-blown crystal addict, like you before you found God. I guess you could say we're thick as thieves and sharp as knives. I spend my days hunting for ice, but I'll settle for blowjob and payment, as I watch my lips form the shape of an O. Get stiffed for a baggie and beat to a bloody pulp. I'm a homeless street urchin without a friend in the world. But I gotta be honest, Granny, I just can't take it anymore. Winter is here and I'm just so sick and tired of being so cold. My dad won't answer the phone, and when I pay him a visit, he tells me to find God or leave him alone. You're my friend, right, Grandma? Please tell me it's true. I need some sort of confirmation before I'm placed back in the concrete zoo, where people point and laugh, judge me unfairly. They don't understand my struggles. They just wrongfully assume. Ha, fuck it, I don't beg, but I'll pray for a rigor mortis, you tone-deaf sepia bitch. So come on, take your final breath. I'll join you soon enough in purgatory, or l'appel du vide, you see. The void is so perfect for me. Now bleed.
Dear God, I hate to say I'm sorry, but I just want you to love me, even though I still love money.
Thank you for listening to Severed Heads. Chapter 8 is titled Christmas.
And there goes the devil, creeping in my life's design. So where does it get you? Being such a damn nice guy. I've been trying to reach you ever since you bought that suit and tie.
Welcome to Severed Heads, written and created by William Goodman. This story is called Evergreen. Chapter 8 is titled Christmas. It was Christmas Eve and the snow was pounding the pavement with little pellets of razor blades and, you know, the blizzard was persistent because every minute the streets were sheets covered in ice and cars were sliding left and right, and to save a life you would risk your own and die tonight, so you better hide inside, wine and dine until the snow resides and wish upon a shooting star that you plucked from the oil-painted sky you created in your mind, a perfect storm of beauty and chaos that only God provides. And everybody wants a white Christmas, but this isn't a Hallmark movie, it's a dystopian, and to say otherwise, you're a lying son of a bitch to yourself that pretends to thrive, a little fuckboy, like I used to be, before I found paradise in bloody hell and turned water into wine to sterilize the universe. Because ignorance isn't bliss, it's ignorant to belittle those that seek information instead of settling for what we are comfortable with. So down with democracy and down with the Democrats. If they want to steal an entire election, you better prepare for the consequences, because in 13 days, America will write another chapter in the history books, one for the ages that will say, "A new dawn sparks ingenuity." It will be beautiful. Joyfulness to a new posterity. That's what I wrote on December 24th, posted it on Twitter and 8chan, and pressed send for the world to see.
Seriously, what the fuck are you talking about, you overdramatic bitch?
Let's put Christ back in Christmas and celebrate his birthday and swap stories of worship and overall his purpose with our family and loved ones on the morning of my favorite, yet most complicated holiday. Is something I can only type instead of say because my father hasn't seen my face in 730 days. It was Christmas 2 years ago, and that's when everything changed.
You think I give a goddamn about the kids?
I was 20 years old, living at home, jobless of course, like a weed in a cracked road. It was Christmas Day, just me and my father. He was drinking alone, on the porch in his pajamas. He seemed so sad, so I asked him, "Dad, do you want breakfast?"
Yeah, I guess.
He responded.
I'll be there in a minute.
I made us scrambled eggs, toast, bacon, and a breakfast sausage, and told him to come in before he freezes to death and sober up with some coffee. We were sitting at the table and the awkward stares continued. I looked at him, smiled, and said, "How about those Bears?" He smirked and took a sip of whiskey. "Yeah, I was listening to the score and they'll probably play the Eagles January 6th. If you want to watch with me, that would be wonderful." He took another sip of whiskey and said,
"What would your mother think?"
I was confused by the question and said, "What do you mean?" He laughed and responded,
"With you."
I think I understood what he was after. I said, "She would be proud that I'm a kind and decent human being." He just flat out lost it.
"Your mother would be ashamed that you're a coward and a loser without a job or a future."
I knew he was baiting me, so I took a deep breath and said, "Dad, I know you don't mean that. You're just drunk and reflecting. I miss her too. In heaven, she's at peace with what happened. Maybe I shouldn't have said the D word," because he shouted,
"Of course I'm drunk. I have to babysit your sorry fat ass. You're pathetic, and I've failed as a father with you and your brother, Trevor, that faggot."
He could see the single tear rolling down my face.
"Oh, you fucking crybaby. Do you want your pacifier?"
My voice was cracking and I said, "Dad, I love you. I didn't mean to offend you." He walked closer towards me with an almost finished bottle of Jack, took one last sip and said,
"I wish you were dead."
Then took that glass bottle and shattered it across my forehead. I was bleeding profusely down my eyelids and fell to the tile and cried, "Dad, please don't." And thankfully, I don't remember the rest. I didn't press charges, but I moved out in the upcoming weeks. I got a full-time job as a cashier at the Jewels and haven't spoken to my father since. I watched the Bears alone and witnessed the double doink. I moved on with my life, but every Christmas I'm shook. So when I pressed send on that particularly cold and bitter Christmas Eve and awoke to an influx of love and support from my peers, I cried for a while and knew I made the right choice with my real family. Thank you for listening to Severed Heads. Chapter 9 is titled Overcast. Welcome to Severed Heads, written and created by William Goodman. This story is called Evergreen. Chapter 9 is titled Overcast. It was overcast with a chance of rain. Low 40s, high winds, flags raised. Thin blue, Keck, Rambo, Confederate, Gadsden, Culpeper. But I was rocking with Q. Head to toe, fox mask, blue jeans, and army boots. I was dressed for war, and that's exactly what we prepared to do. Smith & Wesson M&P, freedom rights and shooting sprees. 30 rounds, max capacity. A bullet for each congressman, but the Speaker of the House gets a rope and tree. Our president will remain king. A mile-and-a-half walk to the Capitol is small change for the man that fixed democracy. Chants broke out. "Hang Mike Pence" is what we all shouted in harmony. Dead presidents spent on tiki torches and hand grenades. I can taste the blood and every step brings me closer to the barricades. It was overcast with a chance of rain. My fox mask was dripping wet with heavy sweat, and I was in physical pain. I had to sit down and catch my breath. I was mentally drained. I took my boots off and checked my blisters. My feet felt like arts and crafts, and my soles were sliced open with a pair of construction scissors. With my incisions, I had some indecisions. Do I fight the pain and march on, or do I turn around where I can cower and quiver? I'm integral, like the principal, a true leader about to make history. I've read The Art of War. Dying is a part of yours. Memento Mori, Minuteman, moral quandary, isn't tactical. My catacombs are cobwebs with a singular thought. We gotta break free and start murdering cops. Push through the barricades until we reach the top. Storm the Capitol, and now we start. It was overcast with a chance of rain, now shaded by the walls and ceiling that dictate our dignity and misery we trust is now the new American dream. When you take God out of politics, you have a generation of indoctrinated teens that can't accept God's will as charity. You have to investigate, you have to interrogate. Every liberal is liable for terrorism in the United States of America. The mob is angry, my friends. Where is Pelosi? Where is Pelosi? It's true, I have a bullet with her name on it. I'd like nothing better than to show her exactly what I plan to do. Fuck the red, white, and blue. In the ashes, we'll start a new nation, built from the ground up, enslaving the rest of the population and destroying their source of information, so in the future they can't pick and choose or have a logical thought. It was overcast with a chance of rain incoming, more puddles of gasoline.
We got a cop,
I heard in the distance.
Light him up, light him up!
Blood decorated his vision.
Listen, grab his radio and let's figure out where the rest of the mice are hiding out.
There, in the basement.
Lock him up!
My blood is starting to boil over and erupt. Let's find a congressman and make them talk. My bullets are persuasive, painted canvases over landscapes of death and crops. The winter's bitter, full of frozen hearts, dread, and blood clots.
Tell us where. We can find evidence of election fraud, documents or text messages that prove to us that POTUS won.
Bang bang, justice served. Bang bang, crash and burn. Bang bang, severed heads. Bang bang, many dead, many dead. The shining bloodbath carry, carnations born in carnage, then heaven sent on stolen sunsets. My heart is pounding faster, 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 and I... It was overcast with a chance of rain. I awoke to a downpour of busted pipes and fire sprinklers firing off. I was alone, and it was pitch black. I wasn't sure where I was, but my right knee was throbbing and my eyes felt glued shut. My mask and gun were gone, and I had no idea what the state of the Capitol building looked like. I tried standing up, but quickly fell down. I screamed for help, but no angels graced me. I reached for my phone. It was cracked and at 17%. Brightness up, flashlight on. I opened up Twitter. No internet service, of course. Regardless, though, I started to smell smoke. I scooted to a wall and pulled myself up and made my way to a door. When I opened it, I couldn't see anything, except what looked like a hallway from hell. Think The Shining, except the twins were skinned and their blood were sins. Nevertheless, I lost my balance and fell to the floor. Another dead body, of course. I pulled out my phone, 12%, and I vocally cursed the Lord. Fuck you! When I needed you the most, you cowardly hid instead. Internet service, thank God. I prioritized calling the cops or calling my dad, scrolling Twitter or posting, I'm dead. As I read, breaking news, state of emergency, the United States Capitol building is up in flames. Thank you for listening to Severed Heads. The last chapter is titled, Ashes. Welcome to Severed Heads, written and created by William Goodman. This story is called Evergreen. Chapter 10 is titled Ashes.
Try to leave it all behind. Wandered alone for the night. Me and all of my dreams are fading. My darkness has won the fight. Is there someone there? A voice that will turn back the light. Take me anywhere.
9%, what's the use? My lungs were filling up with smoke. Scrolling Twitter again and realizing every article mentions the phrase, there's absolutely no hope. I feel like a British Tom during the War of 1812, and in retaliation, I'm being sacrificed like a goat. I've always been the butt of the joke, a lost soul and treated like a ghost. Self-pity is my speciality, ever since my mother died. Death hit me, separately, when I almost burnt down our entire house. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I was 6 or 7 experimenting with frozen chicken thighs. I filled a 3-quart saucepan with extra virgin olive oil and turned the stove on. I tossed in 3 or 4 fillets and watched the saucepan burst up in flames. Smoke turned the ceiling black and the detectors went batshit insane. I panicked. I was irrational and frantic. I grabbed the spray hose from the kitchen sink and directed it towards the flames. It grew angrier and my prayers sank lower. I began to shut down emotionally, with tears decorating my charcoal-colored cheeks. I shouted my mother's name, but the day was silent as the night. I felt hopeless, like I'm being sacrificed. I put my head down and contemplated life, but then my mother, like a goddamn superhero, gave me the will to fight. She grabbed a kitchen towel and wrapped it around her hands, threw the lid on the pot, reached high in the cupboards, grabbed a box of baking soda and vigorously shook the entire thing over the pot until the flames eventually died down. She dragged me out of the house, opened the windows, and immediately called for help. Luckily she did, because asphyxiation was almost the death of me. Ashes. Ashes, ashes, torched souls and ruins, torched souls and ruins, torched ashes and ruins, ashes, 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 torched souls and ruins, torched ashes and ruins, ashes, we all fall down, we all fall, torched souls and ruins, torched ashes and ruins. I sense fire burning in the distance. I hear walls collapsing in every direction. I feel death grabbing me any minute. Any minute, I'll be in heaven in the presence of legends. Jesus Christ. I'll have a conversation with God and get to brag about how I fought for him in the trenches. My immortality is special. I look at my phone, 7% with no reception. I open up the Notes app and begin to write my manifesto. Man, I must confess though, as I cut my fingers on broken glass, I never killed a man and never meant for any of this to happen. I've always been the lamb in a world full of crocodiles. I follow the leader and will jump in a swamp if you told me I'm a lion, but everyone's a liar. 5%, brightness down. I'm not finished with my misguided message. This isn't a plea deal. I accept the actions of my predecessors. The only regret I have is collapsing and not being able to see the world after all the ashes. 3%? Fuck it. I can barely see the screen. The fire is angry and unraveling. Unfortunately, I have so much left to say, with no reception to post it anyways. Mom, I love you, and I put my phone away.
Beating home, the buried crow. Look how low we kings can go. How low we kings can go.
Thank you for listening to Severed Heads. Written and created by William Goodman. Ashes, 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 torched souls and ruins, torched souls and ruins, ashes, we all fall, we all fall, ashes and ruins, ashes, we all fall, ashes, torched souls and ruins. So until we meet again, my greatest friend, my severed head. Amen. We all fall down.